cannot do in an open-ended mutual fund. Sometimes people want to lend against real estate, like real estate credit funds. You don't have to have just regular plan and direct plan. You can have different fee terms. You can have performance linked fee. You can have fixed fee. Mutual fund is not like that. And 23rd March 2020, I may not have invested. You may have invested. But when the money comes, everybody's portfolio. So there are many things which a AIF will do, which a mutual fund just can't do. So to an extent, AIF and mutual fund is just not comparable.
Hello, my name is Vikas Agrawal and I am the founder of Allport, which was known as AIF and PMS Experts India. So we continue to have our expertise in alternative investment funds and portfolio management services. Well, it's always been our endeavor to organize these knowledge-based sessions, and idea is to educate and empower the investor community as a whole. And today with me I have someone very special, Mr. Ashish. So Ashish, first of all, thank you so much for accepting our request.
Thank you.
Let me have the privilege of introducing Ashish. So he brings about almost 2.5 decades of rich experience when it comes to investing in capital markets, more particularly Indian capital markets. Now he is someone who I would say doesn't need too much of introduction because he's always seen on various news channels and also very vocal about his thoughts with IFA community, also with investor community. He would have done, I think, more than perhaps more than 1,500 to 2,000 roadshows in India, across the cities, pan-India level. And, I've got an opportunity to interact with him. So today, we'll try and read his mind, understand what are his views on various things. So thank you, Ashish, for once again doing this for us and for our investors.
Thank you.
So my first question is, Ashish, that, because you have almost 2.5 decades of experience and you are heading entire White Oak Capital in India, and you have mutual fund as one vertical, you have AIF and PMS.
Yes.
So my first question, and this is on behalf of my investors,
of course,
is that mutual fund to sahi hai, and no denying on the fact that even I've been running my own SIPs for over 20 years. But क्या PMS खराब है या क्या AIF खराब है? आपका इस बारे में क्या व्यू है? How do you want to educate my investors?
Sure. No, see, I think what happens is that because we are within our sphere of investment management, that is why we tend to compare mutual fund, PMS, AIF. But ultimately, all these vehicles, they are helping you to invest in the capital market. It may be equity, it may be fixed income, it may be commodities, correct? So, uske alawa to, people are doing direct equity also.
Correct.
Within direct equity, people are buying and selling shares. Some people just subscribe to IPOs. Some people do F&O trading. So the point is that there are multiple ways of participating in the capital markets, clearly, correct? And everybody will have their own preference of which part of the capital market they want to participate and which vehicle or how they want to participate.
Sure.
So इसमें कोई सही या गलत, अच्छा या खराब नहीं है. Like our regulator says that 91% of the traders lose money.
True.
Correct. But entire 100% thinks that they are in the balance 9%. तो सब लोग trading कर ही रहे हैं ना. So अच्छा या खराब एक भी नहीं है. The point is that you as an investor or as a wealth manager, what suits the requirement and what is it that will help you to achieve your preferred, giving you exposure to your preferred part of the capital market and giving exposure to you in a way which suits you or which you find interesting. So you started off with mutual funds, right?
Right.
Now, because you know that mutual funds, we have 6 crore mutual fund investors in India.
Yeah.
So it is something which is MF सही है जैसे आपने बोला, it is something जो घर में अभी इंडिया में 140 करोड़ लोग हैं, लेकिन कितने लोग टैक्स भरते हैं, कितने लोगों का एक लेवल पे आमदनी है, कितने लोग पैसा सेव कर सकते हैं, उसमें आप समझ सकते हैं भाई 6 करोड़ इज नॉट अ स्मॉल नंबर, घर तक पहुंच गया है, राइट? तो म्यूचुअल फंड में 100 रुपया से लेकर के 100 करोड़ से लेकर के कोई भी अमाउंट पीपल कैन इन्वेस्ट. बट द पॉइंट इज दैट व्हेन द लास्ट मैन इन द लाइन can invest in a mutual fund as little as 100 rupees और एक आध दो फंड का तो मेरे को पता है 10 रुपया मिनिमम है. So when it is a household product where the last mile can invest, it means that it needs higher level of regulatory oversight. It means that it needs easy to understand, standard, simple, well defined, So mutual funds are reasonably standardized and straight-jacketed because the regulator also knows that the last man on the street is going to invest in this product. So it better be standardized, it better be simple, and fund managers or AMCs cannot have infinite latitude to perform their activities in a mutual fund. So आप देखिए म्यूचुअल फंड में फॉर एग्जांपल एक ही तरीके का TER होता है, रेगुलर प्लान, डायरेक्ट प्लान. म्यूचुअल फंड्स डेली एनएवी, ओपन एंडेड, आप पैसा लॉक इन नहीं कर सकते हैं. इफ देयर इज एग्जिट लोड, हाउ मच इट कैन बी, फॉर हाउ मच पीरियड. कैन यू डू अ म्यूचुअल फंड व्हिच हैज लॉक इन फॉर 3 years? आंसर इज नो. यू हैव टू डू ओपन एंडेड. डेली एनएवी, whenever a customer wants the money in 24 to 48 hours, you have to pay. Acha, what is large cap? What is mid cap? What is small cap? Where the fund manager can invest? You cannot have more than 10% in a stock. You have to disclose your liquidity data. आपका portfolio कितना proportion of your portfolio you can liquidate in how many days? इसको आपको छापना है website पे. So you know that it is a standardized product. And when it is standardized, it is also straight-jacketed. There are many things. It's not even comparable. There are many things which mutual funds just cannot do. Like you were asking mutual fund AIF comparison. But there are 90% of the things which we do in AIF, mutual fund cannot do. Simplest example is that if you have a portfolio of micro-cap companies which are illiquid, and you have a big portfolio like 5,000 crores, if you have daily liquidity open-ended mutual fund where every day hundreds of people, lakhs of people are investing and lakhs of people are redeeming, how can you manage a liquid portfolio? For example, private markets, unlisted, right? People do venture capital investing, people do private equity investing, pre-IPO. You cannot do in an open-ended mutual fund. Sometimes people want to lend against real estate, like real estate credit funds. There are AIFs which are partnering with builders and constructing real estate projects. So mutual fund is one entity which is for a retail investor. I sometimes say on a lighter note, AIF is a mutual fund in which way? AIF is a rich man's mutual fund. Meaning mutual fund is a fund structure, AIF is a fund structure. Both of them have a custodian, a trustee company, asset management company, NAV, allotment of units, common. उसके बाद कोई ज्यादा सिमिलरिटी नहीं है.
So can I say that
स्ट्रक्चर में सिमिलरिटी
is given to the AIF?
सो स्ट्रक्चर में सिमिलरिटी है, लेकिन कहाँ पे इन्वेस्ट कर सकते हैं, what types of terms. So now look at AIF. You can have close ended. You don't need to give daily liquidity. NAV we may declare once in a month, once in a quarter, right? We may have lock in. Private equity funds, I know 10 years, 12 years lock in. Some pre-IPO funds we do 6 to 7 years. Some close-ended funds we do which is illiquid 5 years. So you can have lock-in. Third thing, you don't have to have just regular plan and direct plan. You can have different fee terms. You can have performance-linked fee. You can have fixed fee, right? In a mutual fund, if the fund size is 100 rupees, the fund manager can invest only 100 or less. In an AIF, in certain categories, the fund manager can leverage, meaning client has given 100 rupees. With those 100 rupees, you are buying some securities. You can pledge those securities and borrow another 30 rupees or whatever is permitted, right? So you can leverage. So there are many things which a AIF will do, which a mutual fund just can't do. So to an extent, AIF and mutual fund is just not comparable, right? Like I said, in AIF, you are doing real estate investing, you are doing credit investing, you are investing in venture capital, private equity, in liquid stuff, long short, leverage, so many things you are doing. All of these things, mutual fund is not allowed because mutual fund is for retail investors, the last mile investing $10 or $100. So mutual funds are standardized and straight-jacketed. AIFs, investment managers have a lot of latitude and lot of flexibility. Third thing you asked is PMS. So PMS, of course, see, it's just a replacement for you investing directly. आज भी अगर आप देखोगे, इक्विटी म्यूचुअल फंड्स का कॉर्पस 50 लाख करोड़ है, लेकिन हमारे $5 ट्रिलियन के मार्केट कैप में लगभग 13 to 14% of our market is still lying with people's direct equity portfolios in their demat. So इतने साल के बाद भी direct equity investing is a bigger kitty or corpus than mutual funds. So what do we do in a PMS? Instead of, there are many people who are managing their own portfolios, they have direct equity portfolios. So in a PMS, what do? We manage, you're appointing a fund manager to manage your portfolio on your behalf rather than you managing it yourself. It's not a fund or a pooled vehicle. In a PMS, your portfolio is in your demat account, my portfolio is in my demat account. We have our demat account. Technically, we are appointing a fund manager and giving that fund manager a power of attorney to manage money on our behalf. But because it is not a pooled structure, it is a bilateral structure, right? So your portfolio, your agreement with your fund manager, my portfolio with my agreement with same fund manager, the agreements can be different.
Yeah. So I've given the power of attorney to the fund manager.
Absolutely. And it's not a fund or a pooled vehicle. So your securities are managed in your demat account, and if you give money, it will change your position. My securities are in my demat account, so my fund flows and my security holdings are segregated. Your fund flows, your security holdings are segregated. It's not a fund or a pooled vehicle. In a fund or a pooled vehicle, what happens is you may be holding your portfolio as it is, but tomorrow morning if somebody gives money, the fund will use that money to buy something. So the entire fund's portfolio holdings will change to that extent. In a PMS, your portfolio reflects your actions, my portfolio reflects my
If I'm
actions.
bullish on India, I can hold on to it for next 5-10 years.
Absolutely. See, in a mutual fund, what happens is that in this aspect, AIF is best of both worlds. Because in a mutual fund, what will happen is that 5 साल पहले आपने क्या देख के क्या फंड खरीदा, लेट्स से 5 साल पहले आपने एक स्कीम खरीदा, उसमें पोर्टफोलियो था ABC एंड XYZ. 5 साल के बाद आप देखोगे फंड 1000 करोड़ था, अभी 10,000 करोड़ हो गया. उसमें ABC XYZ है नहीं है, पता नहीं, अल्फा बीटा गामा और थीटा भी आ गया उसके अंदर, जो आपने देख के खरीदा नहीं था. So in a mutual fund, what happens? It's a journey. It's a train journey, right? It goes on and on. Portfolios will change, fund sizes will change, people will come, people will go. Not only stock picking, fund management is a big activity of a mutual fund. PMS, your portfolio is in your demat. 23rd March 2020, I may panic and sell. तो मेरा स्टॉक्स बेच के मेरे को रिफंड मिलेगा. उसी दिन अगर आप पैसा दोगे तो आपके पोर्टफोलियो में बाइंग होगा और आपको स्टॉक्स अलॉट होएगा और मेरे को डेबिट होगा क्योंकि मैंने बेचा है. Mutual fund is not like that. And 23rd March 2020, I may not have invested, you may have invested, but when the money comes, everybody's portfolio will change. So AIF is best of both worlds. Why? Because in an AIF, you have the investment latitude and the flexibility like a PMS. You have the fund structure of mutual fund. In AIF, we create a pool structure, but we take some money over a period of 6 to 9 months, we take money, then we close the fund. And we manage the portfolio with a 3 to 5 year perspective. उसके बाद रोज पैसा आना, रोज पैसा जाना, फंड मैनेजमेंट करना, not required, right? So I would say AIF is like a best of both worlds. It is gaining prominence. It has the operational efficiency of a mutual fund, but investment latitude, which is much more than any PMS or mutual fund even.
Right. So there are two learnings, dear investors. One that Ashish has mentioned categorically is that AIF is a combination. If I have to share my learning, is that AIF is a combination of mutual fund and PMS to some extent. And the other thing is, when you look at AIF, PMS and mutual fund, well, it is not fair to compare each of these with each other, in the sense that AIF has its own flexibility, which is given by the regulator. PMS is meant for direct equity guys. Those who are managing their direct equity portfolio can afford to give mandate to the portfolio manager like Whito to manage their PMSs. And then mutual fund to sahi hai, and we already talked about it, that it has created good amount of wealth for our investors and continue to create for retail investors. The other thing is, Ashish, thank you for sharing that thought with us. So other thing is, what we witnessed is, and you are someone, worked with Motilal before that as MD and CEO, scaled up the alternate business over there before joining Whito, and bring about 2.5 decades of experience on the table. Post 2011-12, because that was a time in front of your eyes, AIF started shaping up.
Yeah.
They got the regulation.
Yeah.
We are witnessing huge value migration from mutual funds, especially the HNIs and ultra HNIs, towards alternates. And as a result of that, your AIF, perhaps non-institutional AUM has reached to now almost 4 lakh crores, where category 3 itself is about 2.5 lakh crores.
Yeah.
And the PMS is about, again, 3.5, 4 lakh crores. Now, this is done. But what is concerning is that these investors have become too return chasey, in the sense that if particular style is not working, and you are someone who has witnessed this market, styles may keep changing.
Yeah.
But whereas in mutual funds, we have seen really investors are creating wealth by sticking to the same fund for 10 years, 15 years, 20 years. And you're veteran, and there are other CEOs like Nilesh Bhai and Bala, who's been going to smallest of the smallest city,
Yes.
educating. And credit goes to all of you. There's a lot of respect for you. But there, somewhere I feel that investors are becoming too demanding, or maybe they are very chasey in particular asset class, the particular vehicle, AIF and PMS more particularly, and the returns are not coming. They are switching to another PMS, and they are also, after switching, they are realizing that I wish I would have continued there. So, what's your views on that?
See, I think that most important thing you should keep in mind is that there's hardly, or there's probably no fund manager which will not go through a cycle of underperformance. The reason is because if you see 2-3 things, you said about chasing, style changes, etc. So let's understand one thing, and this may be slightly elaborate kind of answer.
Sure.
Let's understand one simple thing. If you see, ultimately, when we are investing in equity, we would like to beat the benchmark, correct? Because if you give money to a fund manager, in fact, डायरेक्ट इक्विटी का ये सबसे बड़ा प्रॉब्लम है कि जो लोगों का डीमैट अकाउंट होता है ना, उसमें CAGR नहीं आता है, और डीमैट अकाउंट में CAGR तो नहीं आता है, इंडेक्स के साथ कंपैरिजन भी नहीं आता है, राइट? तो जब लोग डायरेक्ट इक्विटी इन्वेस्टिंग करते हैं ना, तो इस चीज़ पर ध्यान नहीं देते हैं. But when you look at mutual fund PMS, even Cat 3 AIF kind of thing, ultimately any manager would like to beat the index. Now, most of the managers, to beat the index, they have their own preference or they have their own hypothesis. कुछ लोग ऐसा बोलते हैं कि हाई क्वालिटी अच्छी कंपनियां लेके बैठो, अल्टीमेटली मार्केट में वही वेल्थ क्रिएट करेंगी. कुछ लोग बोलते हैं अच्छी कंपनियां, हाई क्वालिटी कंपनियां, दे आर ऑलवेज एक्सपेंसिव, सस्ता लो तो उससे पैसा बनेगा. कुछ लोग बोलते हैं लार्ज कैप लेके पैसा नहीं बनता है, स्मॉल कैप लेना चाहिए. कुछ लोग बोलते हैं कि ये सब लार्ज कैप, स्मॉल कैप, अच्छा कंपनी, खराब कंपनी छोड़ो, मोमेंटम स्ट्रेटेजी फॉलो करो, जो भी मार्केट में प्राइस और वैल्यू का कॉम्बिनेशन दिखता है वो करो. फिर कुछ लोग, सो एवरीबडी हैज देयर ओन फिलोसॉफी. बट द ब्यूटीफुल पार्ट ऑफ द मार्केट, अल्टीमेटली मार्केट का सबसे बड़ा बेंचमार्क क्या है? BSE 500. BSE 500 को मैं बोलता हूँ सर्वगुण संपन्न. BSE 500 में अच्छा कंपनी, खराब कंपनी, स्मॉल कैप कंपनी, लार्ज कैप कंपनी, क्वालिटी, वैल्यू, कुछ ना कुछ मोमेंटम में है, कुछ ना कुछ मोमेंटम में नहीं है. BSE 500 में सब कुछ है ना. और आप कितना भी बोल लो, आप कितना भी बोल लो अच्छा कंपनी, अल्टीमेटली मेरे को भी पता है कि लंबे अरसे में अच्छी कंपनी परफॉर्म करेगी. लेकिन मार्केट में भाई कुछ समय के लिए खराब कंपनियां भी अच्छा करती है ना, राइट? सो इन द मार्केट देयर इज नो नथिंग कि भाई ये अच्छा है ये खराब है. मार्केट तो मार्केट है. आई गिव एन एग्जांपल. इफ यू सी 2016, 17 एंड 18 एक ऐसा दौर था where all growth stocks were doing well. So in 2016, 17, 18, home finance, auto ancillary, oil prices were low, so oil marketing was doing well. Interest rates were low, NBFCs were doing well. So all growth. 2018 में ILFS डिफॉल्ट हो गया. Then what happened? Economic growth 3.7% GDP ग्रोथ हो गया. उसके बाद तो कोविड आ गया. So 2019-20 डिफेंसिव, हाई क्वालिटी, जिसके पास भी एशियन पेंट्स, HDFC बैंक, नेस्ले, HUL, फार्मा, डिजिटल, वही चला. फिर 2021 तक वही चला. 2021 के एंड में 3 चीजें हुई. चाइना ने टेक सेक्टर के ऊपर अटैक कर दिया, यूएस ने इंटरेस्ट रेट बढ़ा दिया, एंड रशिया ने यूक्रेन को अटैक कर दिया. तो उसके बाद तेल का दाम ऊपर गया, कमोडिटी प्राइसेस वेंट अप, एनर्जी, कोयला, ऑल दिस वेंट अप. सो 2021 के बाद तेल, मेटल, कमोडिटी, PSU, this thing started doing well and quality started underperforming.
Yeah.
Now I have to show with some gestures. Say this is BSE 500. Okay, till 2021, anybody having good quality, free cash flow, good return on invested capital, वो सब इधर है. और तेल, मेटल, कमोडिटी, PSU, एनर्जी सब इधर है.
जी.
तो 2021 तक इसका 10% पॉजिटिव अल्फा है. ये सब लोग गड्ढे में है। इनको सब क्या बोल रहे, तुम सब कचरा लेके बैठे हो, और ये सब क्या बोल रहे हैं, वी आर हाई क्वालिटी, यही चलेगा। ये क्योंकि BSE 500 इधर है तब तक। व्हेन यूक्रेन वॉर केम, BSE 500 है ना, ऐसा हो गया। मीनिंग दैट जो नहीं चल रहा था, तेल, मेटल, कमोडिटी, PSU +10% में आ गया, और IT, फार्मा, कंज्यूमर, हाई क्वालिटी सब नीचे आ गया। अब क्या होता है, इन्वेस्टर हैज गिवन मनी टू दिस गाय इन 2021 आफ्टर सीइंग परफॉर्मेंस। लेकिन जब इंडेक्स ऐसा हो गया ना, तो जिसको आप क्रिटिसाइज कर रहे थे वो ऊपर आ गए, और जिसके आप फैन थे वो सब नीचे चले गए। यू नो व्हाट इज द ब्यूटी? द ब्यूटी इज दैट नो फंड मैनेजर सडनली लूजेस देयर स्किल और कॉम्पिटेंसी। इट्स जस्ट दैट एवरीबडी हैज देयर ओन रेसिपी, एवरीबडी हैज देयर ओन बिलीफ कि भाई मार्केट को बीट करने के लिए मैं ऐसे करूंगा तो होगा। एवरीबडी हैज देयर ओन बिलीफ्स, बट द प्रॉब्लम इज दैट मार्केट का कोई बिलीफ नहीं है। मार्केट इज मार्केट। When interest rates were low, liquidity was high, growth stocks were doing well. When economy did disaster, there is a credit crisis, there is a COVID, so all the free cash flow, high quality did well. When oil, metal, commodity went up, so PSU went up, because in our country oil, metal and commodity is dominated by PSU. Then government, फिर war हो गया तो डिफेंस कंपनी, उसमें भी बहुत PSU है। फिर उसके चलते गवर्नमेंट ने डिफेंस में PLI अनाउंस कर दिया, तो वो तो गवर्नमेंट पॉलिसी है। You know what is the beauty? 2018 में ILFS का डिफॉल्ट होगा तो मार्केट रोटेट होगा। Did anybody predict?
No.
Nobody predicted. 2020 में कोविड आएगा तो फार्मा चलेगा। Did anybody predict? Nobody predicted. Did we know that Russia will attack Ukraine, or that China will change their policy towards tech companies? Right? So what happens when macros change? Style, sector, factor, everything rotates. The fund managers who are following a particular style, sector or factor, some of them get tailwinded, and somebody who was till now enjoying the tailwind, that person becomes headwinded. So the simple point is like this: when you are investing, don't look at just past performance. Look at what is driving the performance, and what may or may not change. What changes in environment will make this performance sustain, and what change in environment will make this performance break down. So if you are going to go for somebody who is growth style, quality style, value style, momentum style, small cap, large cap, जो मार्केट के किसी भी एक हिस्से में, नीश में ऑपरेट कर रहा है ना, तो आपको समझना चाहिए कि इसका साइकिल कहां पे है। दूसरा ऑल्टरनेटिव क्या है? Go for people who do not follow any style, which is people like us, for example. We don't have any style. Our portfolio is benchmarked to BSE 500. We differentiate our portfolio only on the stock picking level. Compared to index, we have no style bias, no sector bias. The only thing we do is stock selection. Meaning, if you see the previous case, where does the alpha generate करने के लिए active weight चाहिए? जो मैंने आपको previous description दिया, उसमें active weight कहां से आता है? इंडेक्स में सब कुछ है। वो तो आपने बोला ना कि आप ग्रोथ लेंगे, वैल्यू नहीं लेंगे, तो आपका पोर्टफोलियो एक्टिव है।
And you are picking up those.
And you are picking that. Somebody saying I do mainly small cap and mid cap. तो भाई बेंचमार्क में सब कुछ है, आपने खाली स्मॉल कैप लिया ना। So lot of people, their active weight comes from their style or sector preference or market cap preference. वहीं पे उनका active weight आ जाता है। In our case, we have no active weight coming from style, sector, factor or market cap. Our active weight comes purely at a stock selection level. तो फाइनेंस टेक्स्ट बुक का भाषा पढ़ेंगे तो some people are generating alpha by taking systematic risk, which is the market risk or the macro risk.
Right.
We balance for the systematic risk or the macro risk or the market risk, and we take only the non-systematic risk, which is the stock specific risk. So ये जो आपने बोला ना, अगर आप किसी का फंड खरीदते हैं जिसका अल्फा एक पर्टिकुलर स्टाइल या सेक्टर की वजह से आ रहा है, तो आपको उस स्टाइल या सेक्टर की पूरी साइकिल रुकना चाहिए, ऊपर से लेके नीचे से लेके ऊपर, पूरा ऑल साइकिल्स आर लाइक दिस. सो इफ यू एंटर्ड स्मॉल कैप इन 2024, यू बेटर वेट टिल 2028 और 2020 और 2030 जब तक उसका पूरा साइकिल कंप्लीट नहीं होगा. इफ यू बॉट हाई क्वालिटी इन 2021, देन यू बेटर वेट, क्योंकि वहां से क्वालिटी नीचे गया है, अभी क्वालिटी ऊपर आने तक आप वेट करो. अगर आपने 2023 2024 में वैल्यू या सिक्लिकल ले लिया है, अब उसका डाउन ट्रेंड स्टार्ट हुआ है, अब आप उसका पूरा साइकिल, सो एनी स्टाइल और सेक्टर यू टेक, आपको उसका पूरा साइकिल आपको यू हैव टू राइड आउट और स्टे फॉर द होल साइकिल। लोग क्या करते हैं, पास्ट परफॉर्मेंस देख के साइकिल के पीक में आते हैं, तो वहां से तो साइकिल नीचे ही जाने वाला है, फिर नाराज हो जाते हैं। You need to understand where you are in the cycle when you entered and then stay through the whole cycle.
Right.
You cannot come at the peak, you get upset at the bottom of the cycle and then से अभी switch कर दो। आज अगर कोई क्वालिटी में से स्विच आउट करके वैल्यू खरीदता है तो क्वालिटी का साइकिल स्टार्ट नहीं हुआ है, वैल्यू का साइकिल पीक पे। तो या तो पोर्टफोलियो को बैलेंस करो और किसी स्टाइल को मत फॉलो करो, और अगर स्टाइल को फॉलो करना है तो साइकिल में कहां पे है वो आइडेंटिफाई करो, पूरा साइकिल रुको या बॉटम ऑफ द साइकिल में एंटर करो, बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट होता है।
Right. So one of the biggest learning for me also is that, and my submission to all the HNIs and ultra HNIs investors who are listening to us, if I have to conclude this conversation, is that please don't look at past performance and then come in the fund. You'll have to really examine and examine the light of cool period in terms of where are you entering, which level you are entering, and particularly my experience of last 25 years in the industry is that a lot of HNIs that I see, they get disheartened. Disappointed is not the right word. They get disheartened when they put all their hard-earned money and they're sizable, by the way, 50 lakh, the minimum threshold, and when they don't see the returns on their way in 2 years time or 1.5 years time, perhaps, or 3 years time, perhaps. 3 years is a too big time, but I would say within 1.5 years to 2 years time, they get disheartened and they start and they get advice from some of their friends, family friends, and then after getting disheartened, they come and redeem. Well, that is a time that you need to think about adding up more money, doing top-ups in the fund, and these are, by the way, high conviction ideas that you are investing in. So you have to have your own high conviction first before you talk about the high conviction coming from the manufacturer, is what as a distribution house that I can share it with you. Thank you, Ashish. I want to come to my third question.
Sure.
And the question is that Ashish, I meet a lot of investors, and one thing that I keep hearing is that they say that they get this SMS from somebody that a lot of people have made good money in Ola, because Ola has grown 100 times. A lot of people made money in OYO. Some people say that they've made big money in NSC. A lot of unlisted stories that I keep hearing. What are your views on CAT 2 AIFs, which is exclusively meant for this unlisted space?
Yeah.
And how different it is from CAT 3?
Yeah, so see, simple difference is that CAT 3 can be open-ended, whereas CAT 2 has to be close-ended. And generally when we do unlisted investment, we prefer close-ended. Obvious है ना, because unlisted है तो illiquid है. Unlisted है मतलब उसको आप बेचने जाओगे तो distress में बिकेगा या तो नहीं बिकेगा. So unlisted needs close-ended, right? So we do unlisted investment or sometimes even illiquid. Like we run, say for example, we run a AIF which is small cap, micro cap and unlisted combined.
Okay.
तो स्मॉल कैप माइक्रो कैप बेचने का है तो बेच सकते हैं, लिक्विडिटी होता है, बट बेसिकली वी प्रेफर टू होल्ड इट फॉर 4-5 years, राइट?
That's CAT 3.
Yeah, CAT 3. So, but it is open-ended. It has some redemption windows. So what happens is that we do CAT 2 also, we do CAT 3 also. But when we are fully unlisted, then we prefer CAT 2. When we are combination of listed, unlisted, or fully listed, then we'll have CAT 3 with some embargo or some redemption windows, right? Now, coming to your point, so you gave great examples of, say, investing in the unlisted space, and I personally feel that as the markets mature, over a period of time, you will find that high net worth investors, I would recommend that they should consider some allocation in the unlisted space. There is a reason for this. The reason is like this, that what happens is that as the private equity culture becomes bigger and bigger, in India, private equity culture is 10 to 15 years old. And even now, only high net worth investors and family offices are investing in private equity. Large institutions are not yet investing in private equity. But आने वाले समय में अपने pension funds, insurance companies, everybody will start investing in private equity. Okay. Now, when institutions come and when overall private equity का size जब बढ़ता है, तो क्या होगा? The number of companies which are coming into the market, in the public market, for listing at 2000, 3000, 5000 crores, वो नहीं के बराबर हो जाएगा, वो बंद हो जाएगा. See, because what happens is today you are in a peculiar situation in India. Sometimes companies come for listing जिसका market cap 3000 crore है और 200, 300, 500 crore का issue लेके आ रहा है. Ideally speaking, if you see, companies would prefer to go public after they have scaled and when they can get a good market cap and when they can enjoy a good PE multiple. अगर एक कंपनी 3-4 हजार करोड़ के मार्केट कैप पे लिस्ट हो जाती है तो प्रमोटर को सिग्निफिकेंट डाइल्यूशन करना पड़ता है. एज मोर इंस्टीट्यूशंस विल कम, एज द प्राइवेट इक्विटी कल्चर विल राइज, द नंबर ऑफ स्मॉल कैप, माइक्रो कैप IPOs, नंबर ऑफ कंपनीज कमिंग फॉर लिस्टिंग, it will get postponed and companies will come for listing after spending 10, 12, 15 years in the cradle of private equity and will come for listing at a reasonably higher size. So what happens in the Western world, it has been seen already that when market becomes more institutionalized and institutions and family offices and rich people put more money in private equity, then the alpha starts shifting from public market into private market. That is the importance of Cat 2 funds. So anybody who has a portfolio like 10 crore, 15 crore, 20 crore, they should start taking some exposure in the private equity side.
Yeah. So at White Oak, do you have any AIF which is Cat 2?
So we do both Cat 2 and Cat 3. And in all humility, my whole point is that whether it is White Oak or ABC, XYZ, what I said is my learning of observing markets over a period of time. So it is your choice and your recommendation wherever people invest, but I feel that people with a sizable portfolio, they should have some exposure to private market because slowly the alpha will shift and more return will be made in private markets as time passes, right? Because in public markets we make a lot of alpha from small cap, micro cap, etc. But when all of these IPOs get postponed and people start raising more money from private market than public market, then the alpha also will get shifted. So coming to your question on White Oak manages both types. We manage category 2, let's say, where we manage pre-IPO funds, which are companies between 6 to 24 months away from listing.
Pre-IPO.
Okay, so we manage pre-IPO, right? That is category 2. Then we also manage category 3, and in category 3 we manage a mix, open-ended, but mix of small cap, micro cap, and some pre-IPO in it.
Okay.
So let's say we have a fund which is 70-75% small cap, micro cap, and has 7 to 8% in pre-IPO stocks. What that does is that if you see mutual funds, in mutual funds there are why we do Cat 3 with small cap, micro cap. One obvious benefit is that when we do Cat 3 with small cap, micro cap, and it's a AIF, we can also bung in some pre-IPO which can add kicker to the returns. Second is, if we do small cap mutual fund, nowadays mutual funds are 10,000, 20,000 crores in size. Plus, there is a regulatory requirement that small cap funds can only invest in companies from market cap rank 251 to 500. In an AIF, that doesn't apply.
Yeah.
Sometimes we buy companies with 2,000 crore market cap. For that, we don't want to have daily NAV, daily inflow, outflow, and liquidity challenges, right? In a mutual fund, it is mandatory to have certain liquidity and we have to report it. AIF, we can have closed-ended AIF with 6 monthly redemption windows. We don't have to report and monitor liquidity on a daily basis, correct? So we do Cat 2 AIFs which are pre-IPO. We do Cat 3 AIF, like right now we have done small cap, micro cap, and unlisted. Then we have done a healthcare AIF which is Cat 3, only healthcare thematic AIF which is Cat 3. That is also small cap, micro cap, and unlisted or pre-IPO.
But essentially, would be investing in only healthcare.
Only healthcare. So we do all types of combinations of listed, unlisted, as well as purely unlisted.
So one of the learning is that when India produced more than, I would say, 50 unicorns in the last 10 years, we as an investor missed out this journey completely. And the reason is, as Ashish rightly pointed out, that as an HNI or ultra HNI, our exposure to unlisted or private market is, I would say, at a minimum level. So my submission is that if you are HNI investor and looking at this, you should start looking at Cat 2 AIFs also, along with your Cat 3 AIFs. My last question, Ashish, thank you so much for giving me so much of time from your busy schedule. I want to read your mind about what's happening in Gift City. People are saying that you will see Gift City becoming sizable in terms of a lot of NRI friends, sisters, brothers who have gone abroad will start participating in Indian capital markets. And there are there are, I think, inward and outward both.
Yes,
So
both. Yes.
now to read your mind there, and more particularly, White Oak has kind of pedigree because of the Mr. Prashant Khemkar's
Yes, of
background
course. Yes.
of investing across the globe.
Yes.
So I want to read your mind, and do you have a fund on this?
Yeah. So we have obviously a large team. Like say first I'll talk about outbound because White Oak is probably the only Indian company where we are an Indian, founded by an Indian asset management company. Where you'll be surprised to know this. We have a partnership with an American asset management company where we are managing a mutual fund for American investors. So Indian owned asset management company managing money for American investors in mutual fund, investing not in India, investing all over the world.
Oh.
Okay, we are the only Indian founded company to be doing that. We are already we manage nearly $700 to $800 million in an emerging market fund. Now,
so do you have a separate fund management team for that?
Yes, in fact, so Prashant obviously was our founder. He was CIO for emerging markets for Goldman Sachs, and recently Hiren Dasani, who was till last month, he was the current CIO for Goldman Sachs for emerging markets. He has also joined White Oak, so he's our CIO for emerging markets. So we have a large team. We have about we have investments team in Mumbai, in Gift City, in Madrid, in Spain, and in Singapore.
Okay.
And we invest all over the world: Latin America, Eastern Europe. See, why emerging markets? Let's understand one simple thing. India is an emerging market and it's a large domestic consumer market. But there are few things which even the Indian market doesn't have. Let me give you examples. There are other emerging markets like Brazil, Indonesia, the Middle East. They are commodity driven markets. They do well when commodities do well. When oil price goes up, Middle East does well. India is reverse. We do badly when commodity prices go up. Our biggest fear is oil price going up. So it's a complementary exposure. Then there are tech-driven markets. India doesn't have any semiconductor or high-tech companies, right? But South Korea, Taiwan, China, they are tech. ये पूरा AI का rally जो चल रहा है इंडिया में नहीं चल रहा है. South Korea, Taiwan, China में चल रहा है. India is not the only domestic economy. There are other large economies like China, Indonesia, Latin America. You can participate in that. Then there are export markets. India is not the biggest export market, but China is a big export center. Mexico is a big export center. Vietnam is a big export center. So I've given you here, right off the bat, I've given you 4 examples of types of emerging markets which India cannot participate in, right? We are Indians, our money is mainly invested in India. But you'll be surprised to know Indian markets correlation with other emerging markets is only 0.6. There are many times, like take the year 2025, India's market return is 0. Other emerging markets have given big positive return. Right? So what we have done in Gift City, for Indians to send money through their LRS, we are the only AMC which has created for Indians exclusively emerging markets ex-India. Why I am specifying this? Because there are emerging markets funds. But if you put your money in an emerging markets funds, that emerging market fund will again put 20-25% in India only.
Yeah, so it's a duplication and not
diversification. It's a duplication and it's not diversification. So we have been very thoughtful. Our team has been very thoughtful. We have created emerging markets ex-India. Second thing is,
so it would invest across
all over the world. Yes. Like they say companies like Hermes, Louis Vuitton. These companies get bulk of their revenue and profitability from emerging markets like China and other parts of Asia and Middle East. But it is listed in Paris. We invest there. Take an example of ASML, which is the world's biggest manufacturer for lithography machines, which is required for semiconductors. It derives its revenue from Taiwan, South Korea and China, but it is listed in Netherlands. So we invest there. We invest all over the world, in all exchanges all over the world. The only thing is that those companies should get maximum revenue from emerging markets. Emerging markets ex-India. That's what we have.
That's your outbound.
That's the outbound fund. The other thing we have done is that very thoughtfully. See, in Gift City, if you do outbound, if you make a fund in Gift City and it is investing all over the world, every time you buy and sell, there could be short-term gain of 42% or long-term gain of 12.5%. Right? But what we have done, we are investing in Gift City, but from Gift City, we are investing in our fund which is in Dublin.
Okay.
When the fund invests all over the world from Dublin, it is tax-free jurisdiction. It doesn't pay any tax.
Oh.
So, only when you redeem in the Gift City fund, after 2 years, there is 12.5% tax. But the trades that the fund makes, so it's a basically very tax efficient structure that we have created for Indians to invest outside India through their LRS.
Okay.
That is the outbound. Now talk about inbound. First of all, inbound meaning, let's talk about NRIs. My understanding is that if you're an NRI, you have no reason to invest in local mutual funds going forward. You should be investing only through GIFT City. Because if you are an NRI and you invest in a mutual fund in India, you are investing through NRE account.
True.
So when there is a redemption, you will have TDS, you will have capital gains tax, you will need to file for your taxes here, right? And whatever the friction goes with that. In GIFT City, what happens? You give us money in a GIFT City fund. You are sitting in Dubai, Singapore, wherever, you remit dollars, you give us money in a GIFT City fund. That GIFT City fund on your behalf will buy our White Oak Capital multi-cap fund here. So obviously this multi-cap fund is a mutual fund here. They don't buying, selling, they don't pay tax. On redemption, there will be tax.
Yeah.
But you know what is the rule in GIFT City? If the GIFT City fund does a redemption in our multi-cap fund, we send the money back to GIFT City, there is no capital gains tax.
Okay.
So on redemption, there is no capital gains tax because GIFT City for inbound investments, there is no tax. So if you invest as an NRI, there is tax on redemption. If you invest from GIFT City, there is no tax on redemption. And if you're in Dubai, Singapore, these jurisdictions, they anyway don't have long-term capital gain tax.
Right.
So for NRIs, the most efficient way to invest in India is only through GIFT City. There's no reason to invest through NRE account. You should invest through GIFT City.
Right. So for the benefit of our investor, can you throw some more lights on inbound in the sense that suppose you have 5 funds, White Oak, large cap White Oak, mid cap White Oak, small cap, and through GIFT City, can I participate in?
No, we are putting money in one fund which is multi-cap. So you don't need to make any choice. We have made the choice automatically that if you put money in our GIFT City fund, it will come in multi-cap because multi-cap is it's anyway diversified.
Yeah.
It's doing everything.
Yeah. Okay, so then it becomes easy for me to.
So outbound is only one fund which is emerging market ex India.
Okay.
Inbound is only one fund which is multi-cap.
Right. Okay. So it's a great tax efficient structure that all NRIs especially can consider going ahead. With that, I would like to conclude my session here and thank you, Ashish, for
Thank you.
giving us your valuable time.
Thank you very much. Thank you.